And the one thing that I've come across so much over the last 12, 18 months, and I've got no doubt you had, I'd love to get your opinion on it. So many people, so many businesses, when they talk about engagement,
Mm.
when they're not really truly bought into
Mhm.
really understanding their people, it becomes a tick box exercise.
Absolutely.
And I think action and feedback, if you've asked your employees to do something, if you don't then communicate with them thereafter, it's more damaging than not carrying out an
At all.
engagement
Yep.
survey, what you do in the first place. So what have
Hmm.
you seen? And how many businesses are
Same.
still caught in that old school mentality is tick box exercise and they do nothing with the information? And how do you advise your clients to interact with their staff?
I think it comes back around to time, right? And the value. I think sometimes some of these things are so just robust, and then it's like a 20-minute meeting, and we're talking a 20-minute for my year and how do we, what are we even talking about? You know what I'm saying? And so I think that is a part of the problem. They don't have time. There's nothing concise. They're pulling things from forever. There's no real rhythm, and people have invested so much time in this and get completely invalidated during the call when you're supposed to go over it or whatever for performance reviews. Think about how much time that costs. Even if you think about like a CEO salary for an hour, they're not even getting anywhere near that type of investment for contributing all the money that they have to your company. And so, yeah, I would be, upset to be quite frank. Like, I would be. You can't tell me how I'm improving. Also, when we're talking about feedback and building the culture, this would be a part of it, is understanding how we can change things and understand. So I think there is that aspect. I think, I was telling one of my clients today, like, I had a friend, they were telling me that every year they submit the same performance review because nobody reads it. So every year they've just been submitting the same thing to prove a point and saying, and this is what I mean. It's so much of a system of people checking boxes and just doing things and being like, it's great. They haven't even realized the last few years it's been the same thing, And so employees are tired. They're tired of being placated. They realize they're really bought in at first of doing it. And then they're like, oh, you're not really going to do anything with this? Great. So what should I put on here then? I'm not going to do that. For what?
Completely agree, and that's why there's so much cynicism around these whole engagement tools. And I mean, we're proud with what we've created, but I understand the cynicism from an employee viewpoint. I think also there are so many tools out there that are just
So many.
dated now. So
Absolutely.
for me, you're just doing the traditional engagement survey, satisfaction survey, and if you can't get real-time information, I'm not surprised there's no feedback going back to the employees, because ultimately, if it takes you weeks and months to cleanse the data,
We have new problems now.
your world is blowing up every day, and you just don't get around to it. So I think tech plays a good part, which is leading me onto the AI bit, and I think modern tech is the way forward because dated systems are exactly that. So we've got AI coming into the workplace. We've got employees fearing their jobs. I'm of the opinion, I'd be
Mhm.
interested in yours, that
Yeah.
AI will without doubt be able to do certain things instead of a human.
Mhm.
That, I think that's a given. We all recognize that.
Mhm.
I'm of the opinion that's just going to create other opportunities for us, though, because AI is going to improve the efficiency for some jobs. It might replace a few jobs, but it will also create new jobs that we don't even know about yet. So, how should companies be embracing AI and communicating about AI to be able to relieve any fears employees have? Because for those companies that are huge, that are going to scale back because of AI, I don't know about you, but I with everything, the pendulum always goes so far one way, and then we come back
Mhm.
to the same ground. There might be a load of job cuts, but I
Mhm.
think within a hot 5 minutes, there's going to be loads of job re- job roles, because businesses will realize that they need the people there to be able to deal with the work that the AI is doing versus just relying on tech. So what's your whole thoughts around where we're going with this and what employers should be doing for the benefit of their employees?
I think it's a combination of things. The example that I talk about probably the most would be Klarna, right? Like they laid off a lot of their employees because they were replacing everything with AI. Then they were like, actually, we're mass hiring because AI can't do everything. And people hated the customer service from Klarna. With the AI, it wasn't working in the way, so they had to hire back some people. I think, it's interesting because I was actually going to be writing about this, so I'm going to start it here. But I think what we're also seeing too is it goes back to this whole distrust thing of if you want me to come into the office and you want me to train into AI, train to do my job. We've seen it with McKinsey, we've seen it with Microsoft, we've seen it with some of these other things where people have gone in there and taught it, and now the next thing I'm employed. So there is a very big fear, and if we don't trust you, I think people aren't going to want to train it right. I know people have already said they're not going to train it. They're going to do whatever they can to mess it up because that is job security. And so I'm saying when you don't trust people, that is a huge issue that you're already facing. Also, if you put junk in, you're going to get junk out, right? And so if people do not trust you, they're not going to help you do these sustainable systems, you know what I'm saying, to get it done. Now, if you use this and talk about it as an aid or whatever, it's different. But once again, you still have to have the trust. I think going back, you also have to think, what kind of company are you, right? What is your company ethos? If you're a company like Southwest that's really built on customer service and you're really built on, you know what I'm saying, and people and all this, and then you throw in AI, that is completely different from your like employer value proposition. You're probably going to lose a lot of your clients. So I think it's really an employer branding opportunity to really think about that and then decide how you're going to engage it. And it's not just tech or IT. This is a full phased out for all executives. You know what I'm saying? And everybody is a part of a transformation process. I think that's why we have the issues. It's so siloed. This should be everybody. And how are we upskilling and reskilling? You can't just throw tech in there. And a great example I'll give is everybody talked about, the computers crashing and everything else and just like Excel and we'll never have accountants. We do learn how to adapt with technology. You know what I'm saying? I definitely think, like you said, there's going to be there's things with Excel that we never had an idea. You know what I'm saying? And yes, we still have accountants, there's different things. But what I am saying is there also has to be a trust. People have to utilize it and understand different things. And right now we are so far from that. I think that is going to be a big part of what makes this change. Also, people are going to leave places that they feel are not servicing them as an employee. We have options now in ways that we have never had before. Even if it's at, honestly, our worst, we know in a capitalistic system, it will still hurt them. You know what I'm saying? And so it's a very interesting thing where people are using agency and choice, even if they can't use money. So I'm saying that's the spot we're in. And that is, when it comes down to something that people are intrinsically motivated in, money is not the option. You have to understand. And so that's why I'm so geeked out about all this.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think when I was younger, the motivation was purely money. I mean, you grow up a little bit, and your values and your purpose changes. But then the Gen Z, they're already there with their values and their purpose. So it's pretty different mindset. But what's really interesting listening to you talking, we spoke about a couple of different subjects, and it's so obvious to me. Everything comes back down to engagement. When you look at the trust issues on technology, when you look on the trust issues with regards to remote and this, that, and the other, when you look at the trust issues for anything, good engagement goes some way to making it better, because businesses it's impossible for them to service every need of every employee, because you're never going to please all the people all the time.
And you shouldn't want to. We look at 80 and 20%, you know what I'm saying? And like, if you're doing that, you're also not doing some other things, right? So
Once you're doing that 80-20 principle, one thing you can do is 100% of the time communicate, feedback, and engagement is a two-way flow. It's that feedback loop. It's what we do here. It's about that feedback loop, because you can't just ask a question, receive the answer, and then do nothing with it. So,
and people want to know the answer, even if it's bad. They want to know the answer. Like, please, because also that tells me you're being honest. If I put some really bad stuff in there and you never said it, and it's like, we have great results, Now I really know you're lying to me because I know I put some of the bad results in there. So, it's those things. And this is where I'm going back with that trust, right? Like people understand. So I think we forget sometimes they're inputting information. So it's not like you're going to tell them something that they don't already know. They want you to know. But the fact that you don't tell them really positions them in a way to say, oh, so you do know, you just don't want to fix it, or you don't even want to admit to it. And that tells me even more, going back to trust.
Yeah, and I think that it is a simple fix. Communication is the root cause and your root solution to most things.
I would agree with you there.
It's just as simple as that. And I'm of the opinion that actually negative feedback is
Great feedback.
it's an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity to be better.
I can't fix what I don't know. I can't fix what I don't know. I am not you. I don't know. So if you want me to do something about it, the more specific you are about it to make me understand, that allows me to actually fix it. So I'm 100% okay with negative feedback. It's the fluffy feedback I can't deal with because I don't know how to replicate it. I don't know what to do with it.
Fluffy feedback is normally disingenuous anyway.
Yeah.
And you want something that's real. So I love talking with you. Let me, by way of drawing the conversation to a bit of a close, tell me, with all the challenges that businesses are facing, with the need to understand their people better, as we go into 2026, give me what you see 2026 looks like from the lens that you see it through at the moment. And what would you be advising companies to focus on? Which I think you're probably going to be saying, real trust and engage with your people. But maybe it's a bit of a
Absolutely.
question. Yeah, where do you see 2026 heading based on what you see at the moment?
I think it's going to be a lot more accountability, whether people want it or not. And I do think that that's going to force either some CEOs to exit. This isn't the job you just show up to anymore. You have a responsibility and accountability. And so I do think that more employees are going to be demanding that. And if you can't, we are going to see more exits. We are already seeing it happening. So I do think that that will kind of continue. I also think that we are coming into a place too of where employees are understanding their value and their worth way more than they have ever understood it ever before. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that is something that people are going to need to reconcile with, but also empower. People see it so much as a threat right now. But if people feel you're willing to help and give them information, they are also willing to help you. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it goes by both ways. If people feel you're restricting everything from them and preventing them from knowing something, they're not going to freely give you stuff. And so I think we have to realize we both need each other. Trust. It's going to be baby steps in showing that. And I think it's really, don't say it with your mouth, show it with your actions. We've done a lot of talking. And I think that employers really have to reconcile all of the things that they have said. So that's the starting point. Until you do all that, nothing else is going to matter because you said a lot of stuff before. Realistically, you know?
Yeah, I thoroughly agree. Thank you so much for sharing so much valuable data and opinions on what's going on. I hope that people listening to this can get some real value from it. And thank you very much for putting the mint colors in your background.
Had to do it for you.
I love it. I love it. I'm really excited to see what we can do together next year. I know we're planning some stuff and I can't wait for that. This will go out post Thanksgiving, but we are recording it on Thanksgiving Eve. So thank you so much for doing that as well. I really appreciate it.
No worries.
Wish you the happiest of Thanksgivings.
Thank you.
And can't wait to see what we can do together next year. Thank you so much, Morgan, for spending time with me.
Thanks. I had such a good time.
Take care.
Bye.